Welcome back, everyone. Ready for another deep dive.
Always. What fascinating topic are we exploring today?
Well, this time we're delving into the power of our own minds, specifically the subconscious.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is. We're diving into The Power of Your Subconscious Mind, the book by Joseph Murphy.
Oh, I've heard of that one.
Have you? It's a classic for a reason. Really explores this hidden world within us and how we can use it, to actually change our lives.
I'm intrigued already. What are some of the key ideas?
Well, one of the things that really struck me right off the bat was how Murphy presents our desires, like actually as a form of prayer.
Prayer, not in a religious way, right?
Not necessarily, more like energetic requests we're sending out constantly.
To the universe, or
Yeah, exactly. Like we're always putting these intentions out there, but maybe we don't always know the best way to actually get them heard.
makes you wonder how many things we've already prayed for without even realizing it.
Right. And maybe this book holds the key to getting those prayers answered. Who knows?
Hmm.
Murphy even tells this story about a university professor.
Oh,
Yeah, the professor really wanted to improve his health desperately, but he just couldn't seem to manifest it. Like he had the desire, the prayer, but not the right tools to connect with the power that could actually grant it.
so it's not just about wanting something, it's about understanding how to make it happen.
Exactly. And that's where the master secret comes in.
Whoa, there's a secret.
Murphy hints at it throughout the book, this master secret for harnessing the subconscious mind. Keeps you reading for sure.
I bet. But before we uncover that, I'm guessing he lays some groundwork first.
Absolutely. He really breaks down the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious minds.
Always a good place to start.
And he does it so well, uses this analogy of a ship. The conscious mind is the captain, making decisions and charting the course, but the subconscious is the engine room crew actually carrying out those orders.
I like that.
So, if the captain gives unclear or contradictory commands, the crew down below is just going to keep chugging along, potentially in the wrong direction.
Makes sense. So our thoughts are like those commands.
Exactly. It makes you think twice about what we're feeding our subconscious, doesn't it?
Definitely. And if the subconscious is the crew, what about suggestions? Where do they fit into this analogy?
Great point. Murphy dives into that too, breaks down suggestion into two types. Autosuggestion, what we tell ourselves, and heterosuggestion, what others tell us.
So our own thoughts and then the things people say to us.
Exactly. And the interesting part is that both can have a surprisingly powerful impact on us, even physically.
Really? He gives an example in the book.
He does, and it's kind of funny. He talks about seasickness. Just the suggestion that someone might be feeling seasick, can actually trigger that reaction in their body.
Just from hearing it.
Yeah, because the subconscious mind, it accepts that suggestion as true, even if it's not.
It's like it takes everything literally.
Exactly, which makes you realize how much power those messages we receive in childhood can have.
Especially when we're young and more impressionable.
Right. Those early heterosuggestions from parents, teachers, even just society in general, can stick with us, shape our beliefs and behaviors, even in adulthood.
It's almost like we're walking around with all these subconscious programs running in the background.
And the question is, can we change them? Can we rewrite those programs?
Oh, that's the real question. I'm guessing Murphy has some thoughts on that.
He does, and it gets really interesting when he starts talking about the subconscious and healing.
Oh,
Yeah, he shares this amazing story about a 19th century surgeon, Dr. James Isdale. Now, get this. This doctor performed hundreds of major surgeries using only mental anesthesia.
no pain meds. Seriously.
Just the power of suggestion. Apparently, it worked.
That sounds incredible.
It does, and it just goes to show how powerful the mind-body connection really is, right?
Right.
Like, belief can have a huge impact.
It's like the placebo effect, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you believe something will work, it often does, even if it's just a sugar pill.
Exactly. And Murphy connects this to things like the healings at Lourdes, where people claim to be cured of serious illnesses through faith and prayer.
Right.
So it's not to say that all healing is just in our heads, but it does make you think about the role of belief, of those positive expectations.
Definitely. If our minds can impact healing, it makes you wonder what else they can do, right?
Exactly. And that's what we'll explore next time as we dive into the specific techniques Murphy outlines for actually using the subconscious mind to create positive change. It's not just theory, there are actual practices we can use.
Sounds like we have a lot to uncover. I'm ready for part 2.
Okay, so we've established the subconscious mind is this incredible force, but how do we actually tap into it, make it work for us?
That's the big question, right?
Yeah.
And luckily, Murphy gives us some concrete tools in the book, not just theories, but actual techniques.
One that keeps coming up is affirmations. A lot of people have heard of them, but Murphy's explanation really clicked for me.
What's his take on it?
Well, he stresses that the subconscious mind, it doesn't really analyze or judge what we tell it. It just accepts whatever we repeat consistently as the truth.
So even if we don't fully believe it at first,
Right. So if we keep saying, I am healthy, I am successful, whatever it is, eventually the subconscious starts acting like it's already true.
interesting, like we're reprogramming it.
Exactly.
Well,
Replacing those old negative programs with ones that actually support our goals.
he gives some examples in the book.
He does. There's this one about a woman who used affirmations to heal a skin malignancy.
Wow, serious stuff.
Now, obviously, we're not saying affirmations replace medical treatment, but it shows how the mind can influence the body.
Right, working with medicine, not against it.
Exactly. And another technique is visualization. Super powerful stuff.
Why that?
Well, because the subconscious takes things literally, remember? So when we visualize something vividly, it's almost like we're actually experiencing it, at least to the subconscious.
So if we want to achieve something, like a promotion at work, we should visualize ourselves getting it.
Exactly. Feeling the emotions, the whole 9 yards. Murphy tells this great story about a businessman who used visualization to find a new office space.
Really?
He pictured it perfectly, signing the lease, feeling excited, and guess what? He found it. Exactly as he'd envisioned it.
That's wild. It's like the universe just made it happen.
Right. But what I find fascinating is the sleeping technique.
The what?
The sleeping technique. The idea is that just before we fall asleep, that drowsy state is the prime time to influence the subconscious.
Why is that?
Because the conscious mind is quieting down, the subconscious is more open to suggestion.
So we can plant those seeds, like while we're drifting off.
Exactly. Murphy tells a story about a woman who overcame financial struggles by thanking Father for her wealth every night as she fell asleep. Sounds simple, but it worked for her.
It's like those bedtime stories, but for our own goals.
I like that. And it's not just for personal stuff. The book also talks about how the subconscious can help with problem solving, even creative breakthroughs.
You mean like those aha moments?
Exactly. Murphy points out that so many great thinkers throughout history have tapped into their subconscious to solve problems.
Like who?
Well, he talks about Friedrich von Stradonitz, the guy who discovered the structure of the benzene ring. He had a dream about a snake biting its tail, and boom, the solution appeared.
It's like the subconscious works in the background, even when we're not thinking about it.
And then, bam, the answer just pops up.
It's pretty amazing when you think about it.
It is. He also shares a story about Dr. Frederick Banting, who discovered insulin. The idea came to him in the middle of the night.
Another sleepless night breakthrough.
So let's say you're stuck on something, a problem at work, a creative block, whatever. What does Murphy suggest?
Well, he says to keep turning the problem over to your subconscious, especially before sleep. Just trust that it's working on it, even if you don't see the solution right away. That sleep technique again.
Yeah, it's a recurring theme. And he gives some great examples. There's this one where a man found his lost ring by asking his subconscious to reveal its location before bed. Then he had a dream that led him straight to it.
Like a subconscious treasure map.
Exactly. And there's another one where a lawyer found a missing will the same way. The subconscious can access information we don't even know we have.
That's mind-blowing. And speaking of dreams, does Murphy talk about those?
He does. He really emphasizes their significance as a window into the subconscious.
Makes sense. That's when our conscious mind is most quiet.
Right. He even talks about how important adequate sleep is, not just for our physical health, but also for mental clarity and access to our subconscious wisdom. He even mentions the dangers of sleep deprivation, like how tired drivers are way more likely to have accidents.
It's like we're not fully ourselves when we're sleep deprived.
Exactly. And getting back to dreams, Murphy suggests using them for problem solving and guidance.
So we should pay attention to them.
Definitely. He tells this story about a man who avoided a dangerous trip because he had a warning dream, like his subconscious was looking out for him.
It's like our inner guardian angel, even in our sleep.
I like that. It reminds me of Robert Louis Stevenson, the author. He used to tell his subconscious to come up with story ideas for him while he slept. And it worked.
That's so cool, using dreams for creativity.
Right. It's like acknowledging that our subconscious isn't just passive, it's an active partner in our lives. And speaking of partners, let's talk about relationships.
Oh, good one.
Yeah, Murphy has a lot to say about using the subconscious to attract an ideal partner and create a fulfilling relationship.
Visualization and affirmations probably come in handy here.
Absolutely. Focus on the qualities you want, visualize yourself in a happy relationship, use affirmations to reinforce those beliefs.
Does he have any success stories?
He does. There's this one about a woman named Sheila who used this technique and ended up meeting her perfect match at a wedding.
That's amazing.
It's proof that when we align our thoughts with our desires, amazing things can happen. And it's not just about finding a partner, he also talks about creating a happy marriage.
What are his tips for that?
Communication, expressing appreciation, even praying together for the relationship.
Interesting. And anything to avoid?
Yeah, projecting negativity onto our partners. Murphy tells the story about a couple who almost divorced because the husband was constantly afraid his wife would leave him.
That's tough. So our thoughts can actually impact the relationship.
Exactly. It's about cultivating a positive mindset, trust, appreciation, nurturing the relationship on a subconscious level.
And what about overcoming negative habits? Does he touch on that?
He does. And fears and even those limiting beliefs about aging, he really gets into the practical stuff here.
So how do we break those bad habits, those negative thought patterns?
He emphasizes replacing them with positive ones, like this alcoholic who visualized himself living a happy family life instead of drinking, rewiring those subconscious pathways.
Powerful stuff. And what about fears?
For fears, he suggests facing them head-on, using our imagination to create positive experiences, like this man who overcame his fear of swimming by mentally dominating the water, creating a mental vaccine against the fear, he calls
I
it.
love that. And aging. What's his take on that?
He says to reject those negative beliefs about getting older and see it as a time for growth and fulfillment.
It's never too late to learn and grow, right?
Exactly. And speaking of growth, Murphy also dives into forgiveness and harmonious human relations.
Forgiveness. What does that have to do with the subconscious?
Well, he says that holding on to resentment and anger actually blocks positive energy in our lives.
So it's not just about being nice, it's about our own well-being.
Right. He tells this story about a woman named Alice who held a grudge against a coworker. Eventually, she realized it was only hurting her.
So forgiveness is actually for ourselves as much as for the other person.
Exactly. And Murphy gives techniques for cultivating forgiveness even when it's hard.
Like, yeah.
Praying for the person, visualizing them surrounded by love, even repeating affirmations of forgiveness until it sinks into the subconscious.
Sounds like it takes effort.
It does,
Yeah.
but it's worth it. And this idea of projecting love, it goes beyond forgiveness. Murphy says we should treat everyone with kindness and respect, even when it's tough.
Even difficult people.
Especially difficult people. He points out that our thoughts about others can actually influence their behavior towards us.
Really? How so?
He tells this story about a guy named Jim who had a terrible boss. Turns out, Jim had been mentally criticizing his boss for years. And surprise, the boss was always difficult with him.
Wow, that's a powerful example.
It is. It shows that our thoughts are creative, they can shape our reality, so if we want positive interactions, we need to project positive thoughts.
So it's about consciously choosing to see the best in others.
Exactly. Projecting that love and goodwill, trusting that it'll create a more harmonious experience for everyone. And I think that's a great note to end on for part 2 of our deep dive.
It's funny when you think about it, all these pieces connecting, right? Like we started with desires being a form of prayer, and now we're talking about sending out love and goodwill, almost like it's all part of the same energy.
It is fascinating, isn't it? This idea that by changing ourselves, our inner world, we can actually change the world around us.
And it really drives home Murphy's point, that we have so much more power than we think over our lives, our experiences.
It's not about pretending everything's perfect.
No, of course not.
But it's about approaching those challenges with a different mindset, a belief that we can overcome them.
And that belief, that power, it all comes back to the subconscious mind.
Right. It's not something outside of us, it's a part of us.
And if we understand it, we can use it to our advantage.
Exactly. So as we wrap up this deep dive into the power of your subconscious mind, what are some key things you hope our listeners will take away? Well, I think the biggest one is that the subconscious mind isn't something to be afraid of, you know? It's not this mysterious, scary thing.
It's actually a source of so much good.
Right. It can help us heal, it can guide us, it's full of wisdom.
And it's available to all of us. That's the amazing part.
But so many of us don't know how to use it.
And that's why Murphy's book is so helpful.
It really is. He gives us those practical tools.
The affirmations, the visualization, that sleeping technique we talked about.
Anyone can use them, It's not just for for special people or anything.
And it's not about magic. It's about understanding how the subconscious works and then actually doing something about it.
Taking action.
Right. Aligning our thoughts and beliefs with what we want.
And remembering that it's a journey.
It's not like we do this once and we're done.
Exactly. There will be bumps in the road.
Challenges, setbacks.
But the key is to keep going, keep learning, and never underestimate the power of that subconscious mind.
Well said. So as we leave our listeners to continue exploring this amazing topic, any final thoughts you'd like to share? A question for them to ponder.
Ooh, that's a good one. How about this? If your subconscious mind can influence your health, your relationships, your creativity, what else might it be capable of? What incredible potential is still hidden inside you, just waiting to be unlocked?
That's a powerful thought to end on. This deep dive might be over, but the real exploration is just beginning for our listeners. Thanks for joining us on this journey into the subconscious mind, and until next time, keep diving deep.
See you all next time.